We are on the record for the hearings and the matters listed in the North Dakota Industrial Commission hearing docket for July 24th. I am David Garner, hearing examiner for these hearings. We are at the hearing room for the Department of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas Division, and it is 9 a.m. On the docket, the following matters will be continued or dismissed. Case number 31004, dismissed. Case number 31005, continued. Case number 31006, continued. Case number 31009, dismissed. Case number 31010, dismissed. And case number 31030, dismissed. The administrative docket starts on page 3 with case number 31011 and goes through case number 31045. These cases will be heard in the next room with Michael Zisch. Audio recordings of the cases on the administrative docket will be placed on the oil and gas website by the end of the week. If you wish to appear in one of the matters on the administrative docket, please appear in the next room. If there is opposition to the matter, it will be brought back into this hearing room to be heard, and your statement and evidence will be taken. We will begin with moving to case number 30998, which is an application of Marathon Oil Company for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bailey and/or Lake Elo Bakken pools to establish an overlapping 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 3, 4, 9, and 10, Township 145 North, Range 93 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Marathon Oil Company. I have 3 witnesses appearing telephonically, Taylor Roberts, Sarah Beth Donaldson, and Julie Foster, and they should all be on the line right now.
Ms. Roberts.
Mr.
I'm sorry. Mr. Roberts.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Taylor, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Taylor Roberts. I'm a senior land professional for Marathon Oil Company. And our address is 990 Town and Country Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77024.
And Taylor, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the spacing units?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Roberts be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Taylor, let's start with your exhibit L1. Can you identify the proposed spacing unit for us?
Sure. Exhibit L1, depicted by the purple dash lines, is our overlapping 2560-acre spacing unit consisting of sections 3 and 10 and 4 and 9 of 145 North, 93 West.
Okay. And let's move on to L2, and if I could have you take us through your working interest in that spacing unit.
Sure. In the previously described 2560 spacing unit, Marathon has approximately a 53.1% working interest across the 4 sections.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Roberts. I'd offer exhibits L1 and L2.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Ms. Donaldson.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Sarah Beth, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Sarah Beth Donaldson. I'm an advanced geologist at Marathon Oil Corporation for the past 11 years. We are located at 990 Town and Country Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77024.
And Sarah Beth, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Donaldson be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Sarah Beth, let's start with Exhibit G1. Can I have you describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Yes. Right. Listed in G1 is our upper Bakken Shale structure map with a contour interval of 20 feet. The 2560 acre spacing unit is shown in the red dashed polygon, which has an average depth of less than a degree. The pink line from A to A prime is our cross section shown in Exhibit G2.
Okay. And let's go ahead and move on to that G2, if you can take us through your cross-section.
Okay. Cross section from A to A prime to the primary target interval for this area, the Middle Bakken. The Middle Bakken thickness here is consistent along the cross section, with thickness variation of less than 5 feet.
Okay. And then let's move on to G3, if you can describe how you'd intend to develop the proposed spacing unit.
Yeah, depicted in G3A is our plan of development for the Middle Bakken section line well, shown in the green dashed line within the 2560 acre spacing unit. The pad is estimated to spud in Q4 of 2024. The 2560 section line is planned 175 feet from the east line. This is part of the pad development shown in Exhibit G3B.
Okay.
Alright.
Let's move on.
Then,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just moving on to Exhibit G3B2.
Yep, okay.
So, depicted in G3B is our full development within the west corresponding 1280 acre spacing unit with a single 2560 well. This pad will be batch drilled and zipper fracked as part of an 11 well pad.
Okay. And Mr. Examiner, I think we've got that marked as G4 on the packet that I've handed out, but that's
Oh, you're right.
okay. It's the same map that you just identified and discussed. So
Okay.
I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Ms. Allen?
Foster, Miss Foster.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have it here as Allen.
Oh, sorry, it's Julie Foster.
Recent name change.
Oh, sorry, Julie. I didn't realize that.
It's okay.
So,
I'll answer to either.
okay.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right. So then, Julie, can I have you state your name for the record and then tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes. My name is Julie Allen. I'm a senior reservoir engineer for Marathon Oil, and we're located at 990 Town and Country Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77024.
And Julie, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Allen be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Julie, if you can take us through E1 and summarize the reservoir data and the economics for the proposed well?
Yes. The proposed well is a 2-mile Middle Bakken well with an expected production of 575,000 barrels of oil. This is out of an original oil in place of about 12 million barrels for the 2560 acre unit, leading to a well recovery factor of about 4.8%. The well is expected to have positive returns with a BFIT NPV10 of about $3.2 million. The economics will run at $70 per barrel WTI flat.
Okay. Let's move on to E2. Can you describe for us how you would propose to drill and complete the well?
Yes. The drilling and completion plan for this well is our standard well plan, which is to run and cement 7-inch casing past the kickoff point, then to run and cement a 4.5-inch liner approximately 10,000 feet further. We will be completing 37 stages in a plug-and-perf manner. The total well cost is expected to be around $7 million, and this includes location, drilling, completions, flowback, facilities, and artificial lift costs.
And Julie, in your opinion, if the commission were to establish the 2560 to allow for that lease line well, would that prevent waste and protect relative rights?
Yes.
I have no further questions that offer E1 and 2 and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 30998. Case number 30999, application of Marathon Oil Company for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bailey Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 5, 8, and 9, Township 145 North, Range 93 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled in such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Marathon Oil Company. And I'll have the same three witnesses testify in this case.
And just a reminder, they're still under oath.
Okay. And Taylor, let's start with L1. Can you identify the spacing unit in this case?
Sure. L1 for the overlapping 2560 spacing unit is depicted by the purple dashed lines, consisting of sections 4 and 9, and 5 and 8 of 145 North, 93 West.
Okay. And let's move on to L2, if you can take us through your working interest in that spacing unit.
Sure. Exhibit L2 for the same existing or overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit. Marathon's approximate working interest is 92.86%.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Okay. And Sarah Beth, let's start with your G1, if you can describe the structure underlying this spacing unit.
Depicted in G1 is an upper block and fill structure map with a contour interval of 20 feet. The 2560 acre spacing unit is shown in the red dashed polygon, which has average depth of less than a degree. The pink line from 8A prime is the cross-section shown in Exhibit G2.
Okay. And if you want to briefly describe that cross-section, I think it's same as last case, is that correct?
That is correct. It's the same thing. So this is cross-section 8A prime. We are targeting the middle Bakken here with the thickness variation of less than 5 feet.
Okay. And then moving on to G3, can you tell us how you would propose to develop this spacing unit?
Depicted in G3 is our plan of development for the middle Bakken section line well, shown in the green dashed line within the 2560 acre spacing unit. Pad is estimated to spend Q4 2024 and is planned 230 feet from the east line as part of the pad development shown in Exhibit 4.
Okay. And you want to just run through that G4 and describe kind of the full development of the lands?
Yep. Within Q4 is a full development within the two corresponding 1280 acre spacing units with a single 2560 well. Pad will be batch drilled and zipper fracked as part of the 11 well pad.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Sarah Beth, that on G4, you have a red circle says plan new surface location. Is that actually currently a Marathon location in section 18?
That will be the Trinca pad, and it is an existing pad. And then right next door is the Middleton pad. We are planning to develop that in conjunction with this pad.
Okay, so you're not necessarily doing new surface construction, you're just adding to that path.
The Middleton pad, it should be new construction, but all further paperwork will be submitted prior.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
You can proceed.
Okay. And Julie, let's go ahead and have you take us through E1 and the reservoir data and economics for this well.
All right, so the proposed well is a 2-mile middle Bakken well with an expected production of 548,000 barrels of oil. This is out of an original oil in place of about 12 million barrels for the 2560 acre unit, leading to a well recovery factor of about 4.6%. The well is expected to have a positive return with a BFIT NPV10 of about $8.2 million. The economics will run at a $70 per barrel WTI flat.
Okay. And then on E2, again, just briefly run us through that. I assume it'll be pretty similar to the last case.
Yeah, so it'll be it'll be the same. The drilling completion plan is our standard 7-inch casing past the kickoff point, and then we'll run and cement a 4.5-inch liner, down about 10,000 feet further. We'll be completing 37 stages in a plug and perf manner, and the total well cost is also about $7 million.
Okay. And Julie, again on this one, if the commission were to approve the 2560 to allow for the drilling of that lease line well, would that prevent waste and protect relative rights?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? That concludes our hearing for case number 30999. Case number 31000, application of Marathon Oil Company for an order amending the applicable orders for the Lake Low Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 16, 17, 20, and 21, Township 145 North, Range 93 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Marathon Oil Company. Same 3 witnesses will testify in this case.
And again, just a reminder, they're still under oath.
Okay. And Taylor, let's start with L1. Can you identify the proposed spacing unit in this case?
Sure. L1 shows our application for the proposed 2560 acre spacing unit, depicted in the purple dash lines, consisting of sections 16 and 21, 17 and 20 of Township 145 North, Range 93 West.
Okay. And can you go ahead and take us through your working interest in that spacing unit, L2?
Sure. On L2, you can see Marathon's working interest is approximately 92.01% in the proposed 2560 acre unit.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right. Sarah Beth, let's start with G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this proposed spacing unit?
Listed in G1 is the Upper Bakken Shale structure map with a contour interval 20 feet. The 2560 acre spacing unit is shown in the red dashed polygon, which has an average depth of less than a degree, and the pink line from 8A prime is our cross-section, shown in G2.
Okay. And again, just run us through G2. I think we're looking at the same cross-section again, correct?
That's correct. It is the same cross-section. So the cross-section from A to A prime is a primary target interval for the area, the Middle Bakken, which has a thickness consistent along the cross-section with the thickness variation of less than 5 feet.
Okay. And then moving on to G3, can you just tell us how you would intend to develop that spacing unit?
Stated in G3 is our plan of development for this Middle Bakken section line well, shown in the green dashed line within the 2560 acre spacing unit. The pad is estimated to spud Q4 of this year. The 2560 section line is planned directly on the section line and is part of the pad development shown in G4.
Okay. Just run us through that G4 and the full development of these lands.
Stated in G4 is our full development within the 2 corresponding 1280 acre spacing units with a single 2560 well. The pad will be batched and zipper fracked as part of an 11 well pad.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Okay. Julie, again, let's start with your E1, and if you can summarize the reservoir data and then the economics for the proposed well.
Yes, the proposed well is a 2-mile Middle Bakken well with an expected production of 525,000 barrels of oil. This is out of an original oil in place of about 12 million barrels for the 2560 acre unit, leading to a well recovery factor of about 4.4%. The well is expected to have positive returns with a BFIT NPV10 of about $3.8 million. And again, these economics were run at $70 per barrel WTI flat.
Okay. And moving on to E2, how would you drill and complete this well?
Yeah, this is the same as before. So the drilling and completion plan for this well is our standard well plan, which is to run and cement 7-inch casing past the kickoff point, then to run and cement a 4.5-inch liner approximately 10,000 feet further. We will be completing 37 stages in a plug-and-perf manner, and the total well cost is expected to be around $7 million. This includes location, drilling, completions, flowback, facilities, and artificial lift costs.
Okay. And Julie, again, if the commission were to approve this 2560 to allow you to drill this lease line well, would that prevent waste and protect relative rights?
Yes.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture affidavit.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? All right, that concludes our hearing for case number 31000.
Okay.
Case number 31001. Application of Five States Operating Company LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bull Creek Madison Pool to 1, to establish two 320-acre spacing units in the Bull Creek Madison Pool consisting of the east half and the west half of Section 20, Township 138 North, Range 99 West, Stark County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on each such unit, and 2, to allow the wells to produce at a maximum efficient rate, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Five States Operating Company, LLC. I'll have one witness, Jeff Brem, and I'll call him now. Hey, Jeff, can you hear me? All right, we're live in the hearing room.
I can see you there.
Mr. Brem,
Good morning.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Jeff, can I have you state your name for the record and then tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Jeffrey A. Brem. I am employed by Phoenix Energy Partners as a consultant for Five States Energy Operating. My address is 4702 Gladesdale Park Lane, Katy, Texas.
And Jeff, have you previously testified before this commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
I have, yes.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Mr. Brem be received as that of an expert in this case.
Motion granted.
And Jeff, let's start with your exhibit number 1. Just can I have you identify the area that we're discussing where you're seeking the spacing?
Okay, exhibit number 1 is a location map which shows the new field boundaries for the Rocky Hill and Bull Creek fields, which have been granted by new spacing orders. And those are 30961,
Our case numbers 30961, 30885, 30807, and 30808. And it also shows the relevant wells and the 2 wells which 5 states has drilled the 2 trilateral wells.
Sure. Let's move on then to exhibit number 2, Jeff, and if I can have you identify specifically the 2 proposed 320 acre spacing units you're asking for.
Okay, this is specifically asking for the 2 indicated stand-up 320 acre units that are in section 20 that are highlighted. These are in Bull Creek Field, and also indicated is our current lease percentages in those 2 units. This also does not include some federal acreage, which we have a written agreement to be able to lease in the southeast border of Section 20 at such time as the spacing is granted, and we are committed to drill a well. And that will be under a federal CA that's through the Bureau of Land Management.
Sure. Let's go ahead and move on to exhibit number 3 then, and if I can have you describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing units.
Right, this is the same map, and it shows the structure at the top of the Freiberg Gamma marker, which will be indicated in Exhibit 5, which is coming up. But it shows that we have a general dip to the north at Section 20 at about 25 to 30 feet per mile.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on then to the net pay map that you've got, exhibit number 4.
This is the net pay for the total Freiberg porosity interval. And you can see this is using a greater than 9% porosity cutoff and a less than 65% water saturation cutoff. It shows a general net pay thick in the area around Section 20.
Okay. And then let's move on to exhibit number 5. You've got the cross-section shown on your map. Let's move on to that cross-section, and if you can walk us through that exhibit.
This is the cross-section between the 2 wells indicated on the previous exhibit, Exhibit 4. It shows the general stratigraphic relationship between those 2 wells. It also shows the location of the Freiberg Gamma marker that defines the structure map that was in Exhibit 3. Our nomenclature, our layer breakdown is indicated in the middle there, A, B, C, D, which differs slightly from the more traditional Mulholland Sherwood that's indicated over on the left. Our target for a proposed well in Section 20 will be what we call the lower B zone, which is indicated by the arrow. The net pay which we are anticipating for Section 20, we are using the Baudouin 1021 as an analog, and the net pay numbers for all of those zones are indicated in the box down on the lower right.
Okay. And let's go ahead and move on to exhibit number 6 then. Can you describe for us how you would develop these proposed spacing units?
We would be developing these in a similar fashion to what we have done already in the wells indicated just to the north. A trilateral well, which is a more detailed version is indicated over on the right. This well will be utilizing the same setbacks which had been granted as the general for the sections that have already been granted. That's a 440-foot spacing laterally and 400 feet on the north and south ends. The total lateral length of the proposed well will be about 13,350 feet.
Okay. And then let's move on, Jeff, to exhibit number 7, and if you can summarize the reservoir data and economics.
Right. This is again the same net pay numbers that were indicated on Exhibit 5. Our initial rate is expected to be 300 barrels a day, which is based on observations that we had in the Rocky Hill 116 well to the north. We have an abandonment rate of about 10 barrels a day and an estimated ultimate recovery of 467,000 barrels. This uses a completed well cost of $5.4 million, return on investment of 1.86x, and an IRR of 15.4% with a payout of 4 years. These assumptions are based on an OPEX, LOE OPEX of $25,000 a month, and oil price assumption of $70 flat.
Okay. And Jeff, if the commission were to approve these 320-acre spacing units to allow you to drill these wells as you've described, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Jeff, looking at your Exhibit 5, the table of reservoir parameters, and Exhibit 7, the table of reservoir parameters, you indicated that they were the same, but it looks like, at least in the copy I've got, that those two tables are different. Can you confirm which one is correct?
Oh, I am sorry. So the one in Exhibit 5 is the correct one. I think I changed the name on that one. That is a typo. I apologize for that.
Okay. And then just confirming I'm looking at this right, your Exhibit 4, which is your net pay on the Freiberg porosity, when you net that down, you're looking at everything that you have labeled as your Mission Canyon Freiberg porosity, so your A, B, C, and D are totaled up and then netted down?
That's correct.
Okay. And the other set of numbers that you provide in that previously referenced table on Exhibit 5 are specific for the B zone, which is your target?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff, on Exhibit 2, you had mentioned something about federal acreage in the southeast of Section 20.
That's correct.
Is that under lease right now?
No, it is not. It is currently at lease. It is a 160-acre tract that is that's federal Bureau of Land Management acreage.
So in order to drill your well, you'll have to get that leased?
We have been tentatively granted that lease, or indicated that it would be granted to us once we have submitted a copy of the state spacing order and an application for the CA 90 days prior to the completion of a well, and a copy of the MDIC well completion report. Then the acreage would be granted to us.
That doesn't have to go out to a competitive bid?
It does not. According to the language that we got from the Bureau of Land Management, it says here the Bureau of Land Management North Dakota Field Office is going to treat the proposed wells as fee wells within the federal communitization agreement. And therefore, federal APDs are not required.
Okay. And your request for allowing the well to produce a maximum efficient rate, is the current language in the spacing order sufficient for you at this time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that concludes our hearing for case number 31001. Case number 31002. Application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Dollar Joe Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as section 17, 20, 29, 32, Township 156 North, Range 96 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 2 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America, LLC. I'll have 3 witnesses in this case, Keith Swiderski, John Prim, and Corey Gilbert, and I'll call them now. You guys hear me? All right, ready to go.
So, Mr. Swiderski,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Keith, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Keith Swiderski. I'm a landman with Oasis Petroleum, and my address is 1001 Bannon Street, Houston, Texas.
And Keith, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony Mr. Swiderski be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Keith, let's start with exhibit number L1, and if you could identify the spacing unit for us.
Yes, so L1 is the regional locator map. This DSU is located in Township 156 North, Range 96 West in Williams County. It is encompassing section 17, 20, 29, and 32.
Okay. And then let's move on to L2 and your working interest in this spacing unit.
Yeah, L2 just shows the DSU a little bit more. Stand up 2560 full mile development. Oasis's working interest is at 59.22%.
Okay. And moving on to L3, can you tell us your working interest in those existing underlying spacing units?
Yes, sir. So the working interest in the underlying units, in the northern unit A, that is our Sheldon unit, it is a 1280 stand-up. Oasis is the operator of this DSU with a 47.25% working interest. in the southern DSU is our Violet Olson in at 1280. Oasis is also the operator of this DSU with a 71.19% working interest.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Swiderski, and I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Keith, you indicated Oasis is currently the operator of both existing spacing units?
Yes.
Looks like Whiting is the existing operator of the wells in the spacing units.
Excuse me. Whiting and Oasis. Whiting is a subsidiary of Cord. So Whiting is, we will be operating these under the Oasis name, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Prim,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
John, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is John Prim. I'm a development geologist at Oasis Petroleum, business address 1001 Fannin Street, Houston, Texas 77002.
And John, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Prim be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And John, let's start with Exhibit G1. Can you describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, so G1 shows the Upper Bakken structure map centered over Township 156 North, Range 96 West, with the proposed spacing unit outlined in the green dash. The underlying contours are 50 feet, and they show a dip from approximately 7,700 feet subsea TVD to 7,800 feet subsea TVD to the west.
Okay. Let's move on to your ISOPAC map, G2. Can you take us through that map?
Sure, so it's a map centered over the same area, this time with the contours showing the Middle Bakken gross interval thickness, with contour intervals of 2 feet. And over the proposed spacing unit, it shows a average Middle Bakken thickness of approximately 49 feet.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and go through G3, if you can take us through that exhibit type log.
Sure. So the type log is the Violet Olson 3129. It was located in the middle of the proposed spacing unit, and it is showing the subsurface parameters that we expect to encounter centered over the Middle Bakken reservoir interval.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for Mr. Prim at this time. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
John, looking at your exhibit G3,
Yes.
you have your Three Forks first bench indicated horizon there. There's about 35 feet between that and the base of the Lower Bakken Shale. Based on this exhibit, is that actually pronghorn interval, or should your first bench line be moved up?
I think the first bench line should be moved up. I could correct that.
Okay, so that's really intended to be just above 10,050, about 45?
Yes, you're correct, yeah.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
I don't think we need a revised exhibit, but thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Gilbert,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Corey, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Corey Gilbert. I'm an asset development engineer here at Oasis Petroleum. Our business address is 1001 Fanning Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Corey, have you previously testified before this commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with the proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Corey, let's look at E1, and can you walk us through how you would propose to develop the spacing unit?
Yeah, absolutely. So E1, I've got outlined in green the 2560 unit being proposed here, and in solid purple, the proposed 2 4-mile lateral. In addition, the purple dash lines are representing some future 2-mile development, planned to be developed under existing spacing orders, but planned to be co-developed, co-drilled with these 2 4-mile wells. In doing so, you can see the 2 4-mile wells extending up into the northern unit, kind of completing the uniform depletion of this area, which is why we've got a mix of 2 4-milers and 2 2-milers.
Okay. Let's move on then to E2, and if you could take us through and summarize your reservoir data and the economics.
Okay. E2, so this is going to be in reference to the 2 4-mile wells. Again, targeting the middle Bakken, anticipating initial reservoir pressure around 7,200 PSI. Average net pay in this area is just shy of 50 feet, with an average porosity of 7% and water saturation of 44%. Our initial gas-oil ratio is anticipated around 1,700 and an oil formation volume factor of 1.71. Looking at original oil in place for the 2560 is 38.5 million barrels, and we're anticipating about 730 MBO EUR per well, and a total of 2 4-mile wells. Looking at the per well economics, using a 71, 50, and 275 price deck, initial investment of about 13 million. Again, that's per well, resulting in a discounted PIR 10 of about 0.7.
And Corey, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve this 2560 to allow you to drill these 2 4-mile laterals, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Gilbert at this time. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
The exhibits are admitted. Also, you failed to admit him as an expert. Would you like to move to?
Oh,
admit him?
yeah, I apologize. Yes, I absolutely would like
And that
him
motion
to
is
be-
granted. Okay. Any questions from the staff?
Corey, has Oasis or Cord drilled any 4-mile laterals yet?
We have not drilled one yet. We've got 2 on our schedule upcoming here at the end of this year. This will be our 3rd 4-mile development scheduled sometime mid of next year. But yeah, we have one previously spaced with the NDIC coming up here this fall, and then a second one will be drilled over in Montana this fall as well. Those we anticipate to have drilled and cleaned out prior to this development, but we're not anticipating any issues at this time.
When would you spud these?
Tentatively, right now, we have them spudding around May of next year.
Would you drill both of these at the same time, or would you drill one and evaluate?
No, we would drill both at the same time.
How many stages do you plan?
That's a good question. I don't have a number off the top of my head. I know the intention from our completions group is to limit stage length in the toes just to maintain our limited entry, and then depending on pressures, increase to our standard stage length as pressures dictate. But the total number, I'd have to get back on you.
Sorry if I
And
misunderstood.
again,
this, was
Sorry, go
there,
ahead.
was there a plan for reduced density at the toes or increased for stages?
So all I was referencing there is to maintain limited entry, we would shorten our stage length, so the amount of lateral footage we try to grab per stage. Because we try to maintain limited entry and a certain pressure and flow rate per and anticipating a lower flow rate being able to be achieved at the toe, we would pump shorter stages. And then as we were able to gain rate, we would lengthen our stages to kind of our standard design that you see in our 2 and 3 mile laterals. So what that equates to as far as a total stage count per lateral would be an estimate, but even that I'd be hesitant to give you a number without further talking with our completions group on where they think the total number of stages will end up landing.
Have you done any projections on what that contribution from that 4th mile might be compared to the rest of the well?
Yeah, we have, and we're utilizing a lot of our 3 mile data, which is showing to come back very strong. We have full anticipation with that we expect to have reasonable, if not the same amount of contribution in the 4th mile as well.
Even with the shortened stage lengths at the toe?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're not adjusting necessarily our cluster spacing or anything like that, just the amount that we'll try to grab in each stage. So we still plan to get full uniform completed lateral. Same volume of fluid, with same amount of sand per cluster uniform across the lateral. So we don't anticipate necessarily smaller cracks at the toe. We're just going to take smaller bites and pump more stages to get that fluid and bend down there.
Okay, thank you.
Corey, you got, looking at your exhibit E1, you have your plans pad location there, south of the spacing unit, correct?
That's correct.
And I'm assuming you intend to drill all of the proposed wells, but the 2 4-milers plus the infill wells at the same time?
That's correct.
Okay. The westernmost 4-mile well, how long does that thing actually end up being after stepping out from that pad location?
I have to do some math. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Close to 25 or better?
Yes.
Looking at the development plan here, you've got, so how accurate is your proposed well stick on this exhibit E1? Are they about where you actually plan to locate them?
Yeah, I'd say they're fairly accurate.
Okay. To the west of that, your westernmost 4-mile lateral, the wellbore that's depicted there, the TRID Ranch,
Yeah.
is that a 3-mile Middle Bakken well as well? Down the section line?
It is, and while our proposed sticks are fairly accurate, that doesn't look like it's displaying correctly on. So this is a screenshot of our internal mapping, and that well does not protrude as far into the DSU as being shown here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're referencing how close those two get there.
Right. I mean, what is your idealized interwell distance between Middle Bakken wells here?
So we would be landing on just over 4, almost 4.5 wells across.
Do you know what that interwell distance would be?
Right around 1,300 feet.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the toe of both of your 4-mile proposed wells. In this, well, not even just the toe, the second half of them, ends up competing with a section line well to the west and another Middle Bakken well immediately east of it in both cases. You do end up in a similar state in the south half, but are you really anticipating the contribution from all 4 miles of that lateral to be relatively uniform in both of these?
Yeah, with roughly, that 1,300 foot in between, that definitely falls in line with how we're developing this area.
All right, thank you.
Corey, would you mind resubmitting your Exhibit E1, showing those distances and updating it for, I guess, more visual accuracy for what we're looking at compared to what you're seeing?
Yes, I can do that.
And would you be able to supplement a wellbore diagram with the number of stages as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing further. How long do you need to supplement the record?
Corey, is a week enough time to get that in or not?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Like July 31st?
That's fine. Okay, the record will remain open in this case until July 31st. And that concludes our hearing for case number 31002. Case number 31003, application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Strandall and/or Bull Butte Bakken pools to establish 2 overlapping stand-up 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 14, 23, and 26 Township 157 North, Range 102 West, and Section 35 Township 157 North, Range 102 West, and Sections 5 and 8 Township 156 North, Range 102 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America, LLC. Nicole Meredith will be the land witness in this case, but the other 2 witnesses will be the same.
Okay, just a reminder, the other 2 witnesses are still under oath. Ms. Meredith,
Yes,
do you solemnly swear or affirm on the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
yes, I do.
Nicole, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Nicole Meredith. I am employed at Oasis Petroleum, a subsidiary of Ford Energy. Business address is 1001 Fannin, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002, and I am a ramman at Oasis.
Okay. And Nicole, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes,
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with these proposed spacing units?
yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Meredith be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Nicole, let's start with L1, if you can identify the proposed spacing units.
Sure. Exhibit 01 is the regional locator map, which identifies the specific units we are requesting spacing for today.
Okay, and then let's go on to L2.
Okay, L2 just portrays the current spacing as approved by the commission. We've got Township 156, 102, Sections 5 and 8 of the 1280, and then we move up north to Township 157, 102, 26, 35, and Sections 14 and 23. The requested spacing is comprised of all three 1280 sections, so we've got Sections 35 of 15702, along with Sections 5 and 8 of 156, 102. And then further north, we have Township 157, 102, Sections 14, 23, and 26 as our requested 1920 stand-up spacing.
Okay, let's move on to L3. Can you describe your working interest in the proposed 1920s?
Sure. The working interest in the most northern 1920 unit, as identified in red outline, is 75.12. And our working interest in the most southern unit, identified in the blue outline, is 70.43. I will make note, because there was a question as to the Whiting-operated wells on the previous case. So you will notice a couple of these well bores are operated by Interplus. We did close on a merger with Interplus in July. So we've got operatorship now as Oasis Petroleum under Cord for all of these well bores here.
Sure. And then let's go on to L4, the working interest in those existing underlying spacing units.
Okay, so the most northern 1280 comprised of sections 14 and 23 in Township 157, 102 is 82.65% working interest. Moving south to sections 26 and 35 of Township 157, Range 102, the working interest is 71.35. And then further south of that, sections 5 and 8 in Township 156, 102, we've got just under 70% working interest there.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Nicole, is there a reason you're choosing to combine 14, 23, and 26, and then 35, 5, and 8, just having that second 1920 to the south step outside of the township, as opposed to just coming from the north with these, and including 2 and 11 in a 1920 with 14, and then having 23, 26, and 35 be the subsequent 1920?
Yeah, so we saw a bit of an opportunity here. So we are currently operating 5 and 8 under Oasis Petroleum, and then of course with the merger, we've got some additional plans for the northern sections, and we're kind of identifying and laying those out now. This was the kind of priority locations at this time. We've drilled further south into 156, 102, and we've got some additional development plans for the western part as well. So it's, we do plan to respace a bit more. This is kind of the priority locations based on where we've got it plotted on our development schedule, which I want to say is March 2025 at this point. But obviously, we looked at this and wanted to space into including Section 35 3-mile laterals. We're seeing this proven to be more beneficial, and with Section 5 and 8 spaced of the 1280, we saw that as an opportunity to pull in that Section 35, and we'll stagger it. But I don't think at this point we plan on moving further into that, as stepping into additional townships at this point. But we're still evaluating some of the development strategies and spacing strategies in this area with the new Interplus asset.
I mean, it would look like almost everything north and south is all either Oasis or Interplus. It would look like you could do your 1920 3-mile lateral development and keep them on pattern within the townships rather than stepping over township lines. You mentioned a fair bit of additional kind of tentative work as far as spacing areas to the north and around this. Realizing that that might be tentative at this point, would you be willing to submit that so we could get a better look at what your overall plan might look like?
Yeah, I think we probably could. I can work with our development team to better understand where we're at in that kind of BHL and planning phase. Like I said, the Ellis unit has been on our list, as well as some of the additional. We've done quite a bit of development in 156, 102. I think we also have a unit that does cross over into 155, 102. It overlaps township boundaries as well. Just the way that things have staggered as we've done some of the through spacing on these townships. But it's not leaving any of our sections or units stranded by any means. It's but I'm not sure the timing of that, but I'm sure we can work through a better understanding of what this area looks like.
Yeah, I think the commission would like to see that while we're evaluating this case. If you can submit it as a supplemental to this case, as far as timing goes, we could. Are we okay just leaving the record open until we receive that?
That's fine.
Okay.
So the record will remain open until we receive the supplement. Anything further? Okay, you can proceed with the next witness.
Okay, John, let's go ahead and take a look at G3. If you can describe for us the structure underlying the proposed spacing units.
Yeah, so in G1, this is the Upper Bakken structure map centered over the two proposed 1920 spacing units outlined in yellow and green. The contour intervals shown on the map are 50 feet in subsea TVD space, showing a dip from approximately 7750 in the north to 8050 in the south.
Okay, and let's move on to the IcePack map G2, if you can take us through that one.
Yep, so this is a map over the same area with the same proposed spacing units highlighted, showing the Middle Bakken isopack or gross interval thickness. Contour intervals on this map are 2 feet, and it shows an approximate thickness across both units of about 38 or 39 feet going across both units.
Okay, and then moving on to G3, can you take us through your type log?
Yeah, so this is the Rasmussen 12116H type log centered over the Middle Bakken reservoir interval, showing the petrophysical characteristics of the subsurface that we expect to encounter over both these units.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed with the next witness.
All right, Corey, let's start with E1, and can you take us through how you'd intend to develop that southernmost 1,920 acre spacing unit?
Yeah, so starting with the 157, 102, section 35, 156, 102, sections 5 and 8. I've got that outlined in green, proposing 3 Middle Bakken wells drilled from the south end in development with the DSU to the south.
Okay, and then E2, how would you intend to develop the other 1920 to the north?
Okay, yeah, so 157, 102, sections 14, 23, 26 I have outlined in green. Again, proposing 3 additional Middle Bakken wells in conjunction with the parent wells there likely developing this unit from the north end.
Okay. And let's go ahead and move on to E3, if you can summarize the reservoir data and the economics for the proposed wells.
Sure. So we're looking at initial reservoir pressure here of the Middle Bakken at 6,800 psi. Average net pay in this part of the basin is right around 38 feet. 6.6% porosity, 47% water saturation, gas oil ratio 698, and an oil formation volume factor of 1.38. Moving down to OOIP for 1920, we're estimating original oil in place of 22 million barrels, and an average well EUR of 430 MBO, and again we're proposing 3 wells for each spacing unit. Per well economics that are 71.50, 275 price tag. We have a per well investment of $8 million, which resulting in a discounted PIR 10 of about 0.35.
Okay. And Corey, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve these two 1920s to allow you to drill the wells as you've indicated, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Corey, when do you plan on spudding these?
Right now, we tentatively have one March 2025.
Sorry, I missed that first part. What part of 2025?
March.
March. And you'll be batch drilling these?
Correct.
How many stages do you use for your 3-mile laterals?
Just shy of 40 stages.
And are you planning on drilling these as shown, or is there going to be any staggering or offset for those existing laterals?
Yeah, these ones probably aren't as accurate exactly where they're placed in the DSU. We will space off that parent well appropriately. So right now, I'm showing a little tighter spacing to the east versus the west on the parent well, which probably isn't as accurate as it could be.
What kind of interwell distance are you looking for here?
Those outside wells will likely be spaced 550 off.
550 off the parent wells?
550 off section, so we'll have 41 to 5. Sorry, I was doing some math here. So we'll be right at that 1400 as well here. So I was saying the 2 outside wells will space right around 550 off the section line wells, leaving that inner well spacing of about 1400 between the existing and the new development wells.
Okay, thank you.
Corey, looking at E1, you said this southern unit would be drilled from the south. Do you have a tentative pad location?
Yeah, we're looking, I don't have it labeled here, but we're looking at just off the section line well, or off the section to the south. And it will be a 6-well pad, because we'll be drilling 3 wells to the south from it as well. And all 6 of those wells will be batch drilled, but it is just south of section 8.
Will it be in the, like on the center line?
So it'll be just east of center line.
And then looking at E2, Where is the tentative pad location for those wells?
That we're not as far along in our process as far as our surface scouting goes. So that one I don't have a nailed down surface location like I do for the south.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 31003. At this time, why don't we take a 10-minute break? Okay, we are back on the record, and we will resume with case number 31004. Application of Hesbachen Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Camel Butte and/or Blue Buttes Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 1280-acre spacing unit described as sections 24 and 25, Township 151 North, Range 96 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled in such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 31004. Case number 31005, application of Hesbachen Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Sorkness and/or Big Butte Bakken Pools, Montreal County, North Dakota, to 1, establish an overlapping stand-up 19-20-acre spacing unit described as sections 5, 8, and 17, Township 157 North, Range 93 West, and authorize 2 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit. 2, establish an overlapping 38-40-acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 5, 8, 9, 16, and 17, Township 157 North, Range 93 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled in such unit. Or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to the August hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31005. Case number 31006, application of Hesbachen Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Big Butte Bakken Pool, Montreal County, North Dakota, to 1, establish an overlapping stand-up 19-20-acre spacing unit described as sections 20, 29, and 32, Township 157 North, Range 93 West, and authorize 2 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit. 2, establish an overlapping 38-40-acre spacing unit described as sections 20, 21, 28, 29, 32, and 33, Township 157 North, Range 93 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled in such unit. Or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to the August hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31006. Case number 31007, application of Hesbachen Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Big Butte Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 25-60-acre spacing unit described in sections 17, 18, 19, and 20, Township 157 North, Range 93 West, Montreal County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled in such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Hesbachen Investments 2 LLC. I have 3 witnesses in this case. Mr. John DeWitt is present, and then Othman El Halou and Carson Noble are on the line right now.
Mr. DeWitt, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
John, can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is John DeWitt. I'm employed by Hess Corporation as a senior land negotiator with a business address of 1501 McKinney Street, Houston, Texas 77010.
And John, have you previously testified before this commission?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing unit?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. DeWitt be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And John, let's start with exhibit number 1. Can you go ahead and identify the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, Exhibit 1 is the location map depicting Township 157 North, Range 93 West. In the blue outlines are the existing 1280 DSUs, being sections 17 and 20 and 18 and 19, and in the green dashed outline is the overlapping 2560 DSU, being sections 17, 18, 19, and 20.
Okay. And then let's move on to exhibit number 2, and if I can have you take us through your working interest in the proposed spacing unit.
Yes, Exhibit number 2 is the land plat depicting the 2560 spacing request in the black dashed outline. In green is the Ian Nordset DSU, Hess operated. Hess's working interest is 53.55, and the remaining owners with 46.45%. In gray is the Hess operated Ian Moore DSU. with Hess's working interest of 79.59%, and the remaining others with 20.41%. The combined working interest of the EN Nordset LW 15793, 17, and 20 will be Hess's working interest with 66.53%, and the remaining owners with 33.47%.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. El Hulu,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I swear.
Othman, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Othman, E-L-H-E-L-O-U. I am employed by Hess Corporation as an operations geologist. Business address of 1501 McKinney Street, Houston, Texas, 77010.
And Othman, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing unit?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. El Hulu be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Othman, let's take a look at your Exhibit 3. Can you describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Sure. Exhibit 3 is a structure map of the Middle Bakken top, then 50-foot contour intervals, showing that the formation to the south. The line A to A prime represents the location of the wells used in the cross-section and exhibit.
Okay, and let's move on to Exhibit number 4, if you can just take us through your cross-section.
Sure. Exhibit 4 is a stratigraphic cross-section that's flattened on the top of the Bakken, showing that the targeted formations are present in continuous throughout the region.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer Exhibits 3 and 4.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Hoffman, looking at your Exhibit 4, the gamma traces that you're presenting on that, are those all on MWD gamma, and they're not representing like true vertical depth?
Yeah, they're MWD gamma on measured depth scale, so they're a little skewed.
Okay, so the thicknesses that you have there are skewed because of their deviating through the formation, especially on A prime?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Noble,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Carson, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yeah. Name's Carson Noble, employed by Hess Corporation as a reservoir engineer. Business address is 1501 McKinney Street, Houston, Texas, 77010.
And Carson, have you previously testified before this commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Noble be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Carson, let's look at Exhibit 5. Can you describe for us how you would propose to develop this spacing unit?
Yes, so this Exhibit 5 shows the proposed 2560 developments for Sections 17, 18, 19, and 20. That bold dashed line in the center there is the proposed lease line well and will be drilled in the Middle Bakken Formation.
Okay. Let's move on to Exhibit number 6, and if you could summarize for us the reservoir data and the economics for the proposed well.
Yes, this reservoir and economic summary is for a single 2-mile Middle Bakken well in the East Nesson area. The expected EUR is about 580,000 barrels. Economics will run at $2 a barrel WTI flat and at 100% working interest. The expected NPV is roughly $12 million with a little over 100% rate of return.
And Carson, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve this spacing unit to allow for the lease line well, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights?
Yes, it would.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer exhibits 5, 6, and the gas capture plan affidavit.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Carson, is this going to be drilled right down the section line?
I believe it's roughly 80 feet east of the section line.
And what's your spud date?
But it is January 2029.
Would the rest of this shown proposed development be batch drilled at the same time?
Correct. The 2 mile wells you see kind of in the middle of the Exhibit 5 would all be drilled roughly around 2029.
Okay, thank you.
Carson, your exhibit 6, your after-tax payout, what's the first investment mean?
That's the payout after the it's after the first production, not the first investment. That's a typo.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 31007. Case number 31008, in the matter of a hearing called on a motion of the commission to consider the confiscation of all production-related equipment and saleable oil at the Ottman's Ocelot 121-121 well, northeast northwest quarter, section 21, township 139 north, range 96 west, Wildcat Field, Stark County, North Dakota, operated by Freedom Operating LLC, or any working interest owner pursuant to NDCC 380804 and 380804.9. All interested parties, please come forward.
Mr. Examiner, the commission would request that the well file be made part of the record and be able to take administrative notice of any appropriate records in this matter.
Request is granted. I will note for the record that no one appeared in this case, and with that, that concludes our hearing for case number 31008. Case number 31009, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order suspending and after hearing revoking a permit issued to Enerplus Resources USA Corp. for the drilling of the Olson 14997-34-27-9HL on a spacing unit for the Little Knife Bakken pool consisting of sections 26, 27, 34, and 35, Township 147 North, Range 97 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and for such other and further relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 31009. Case number 31010, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order suspending and after hearing revoking a permit issued to Enerplus Resources USA Corp. for the drilling of the Olson 147-9734-27-3H, Olson 147-9734-27-4H, Olson 147-9734-27-5H, Olson 147-9734-27-6H, Olson 147-9734-27-7H, and the Olson 147-9734-27-8H on a spacing unit for the Little Knife Bakken pool consisting of sections 27 and 34, Township 147 North, Range 97 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and for such other and further relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 31010, and that concludes our hearings for the day. We're off the record.